is for you. Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Yeah, this for my dogs from the east to the west side. You rockin' brown and orange with me, baby. Let's ride. Represent the land, let them know. Tell them, here we go, brownies. Here we go. Yeah, here we go.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Here We Go Brownies podcast. I am Allie Ellery, coming at you live from Pensacola, Florida. Join with me, as always, out in beautiful Cleveland, Ohio. We have Dustin. Dustin, how you living? How's it going?
Good, Allie. It's kind of weird, but, I don't like going to work in the dark, and I don't like going home in the dark. It's kind of that time of year where, because of daylight savings and all that, it's kind of weird. Like you go to work in the dark and you kind of home in the dark. So it's kind of weird. Just trugging through a 3-10 season. 11? Is it 3-11 now? 3-11?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's 3-11. 3-11.
Yep. Tough year. As
they might say in the wintertime.
Yeah. And we're really in the thick of it here. Dustin and I were just talking offline a moment ago saying, like, man, we're going to shake things up a little bit tonight on the podcast. And obviously we're going to talk about the Cleveland Browns and important news as it pertains to our favorite team. But they're only giving us so much to talk about, right? This team is only giving us so much to say. And we don't want to produce the exact same podcast every single week where we're just kind of throwing our hands up in the air and saying, what's the answer? Because it's not fun to talk about. I'm sure it's not fun to listen to. We know that what we're watching every single week isn't fun to watch. So we're going to kind of shake things up tonight, and we're going to go through some things around the league and get back to some of our I don't know, more creative segments, because that's just where we're at with this Browns team right now. Yeah, we're going to get into it. So before we kick things off, we want to give a shout out to our newest sponsor, Legacy Integrated. Dustin, I'm going to turn it over to you to tell our friends about Legacy Integrated.
Yeah, guys, with the new year around the corner, some of you may be looking to make changes to financial goals. Is generating passive income a key area you want to focus on? One of your newest show sponsors, that's right, Legacy Integrated, assists individuals with hands-off diversified investment options that target generated passive income. Email Brian at thelegacyintegrated.com. That's Brian at thelegacyintegrated.com with an email subject line of passive income to schedule a free introductory call. Think about it. No trash, no toilets, no tenants. Their focus is hands-off passive income and can help you diversify across private debt and private equity to help you out.
Yeah, there you go. Also want to give a shout out to our friends over at Stadium Mustard. Guys, if you don't have Stadium Mustard in your kitchens this season, you're doing it wrong. The iconic brand, the iconic taste, it's beloved from ballparks to backyards and everywhere in between. Stadium Mustard is a smooth brown mustard, rich in both taste and tradition. By the way, it is loved by millions, so be sure to head on over to stadiummustard.com to shop now. Dustin, let's kick things off with the most recent news as it pertains to our favorite team, the Cleveland Browns, and that is that they are going to be starting Dorian Thompson-Robinson this week against the Bengals. So I don't think anybody was shocked in this news. We know that Kevin Stefanski would not commit to a starting quarterback in his post-game press availability. Obviously, they did bench Jameis in the game last week after 3 interceptions. They pulled the plug there, put DTR in, but we are going to see DTR get the start this week. I'm curious to see if this shifts the game plan at all, but let's get into that a little bit.
Yeah, last year 5 quarterbacks, this year 3 quarterbacks in the course of a season. It is the ever-ending carousel of quarterbacks at the Cleveland Browns front office in Berea. It is crazy. That jersey will forever be cemented in Cleveland with, I don't know, god-awful amount of quarterbacks that have started for the Browns. I'm not surprised by this move. Very little surprise. The one thing, we already kind of know what we have in DTR, and I don't know if this is a little of both, maybe. Andrew Berry getting film on DTR for trade possibilities. I was thinking about that today. And also to keep him on the roster. This could be a twofold situation where Andrew Berry is like, look, let's see, what you have in you. And then if somebody comes calling, maybe we'll listen, right?
Mhm.
Because quarterbacks become teams become desperate at times for quarterbacks. But I think I'm going to be completely honest. You got to blow up the quarterback room. I mean, you just got to
Yeah.
blow it up. Like you got to just you got to throw a dynamite in there, blow it up, and start over because
Because
it's yeah.
is it fair to say that, I mean, I don't think anybody's really gonna disagree here, but is it fair to say that the quarterback of the future it's obviously not on this roster? Like clearly,
Oh
I've
yeah, yeah,
well,
1000%. Yeah,
that I say that. I know that sounds ridiculous for me to even say, but like I have seen it all over social media and even on the national scale, people are saying, "Oh, well, let's let the Browns see what they have in DTR. Maybe they have like a Jalen Hurts situation." It's not the case. It's not the case. Yes, you give the younger player the reps right now for several different reasons. One, to see what you have. Maybe by the grace of God, it's something. It's
right.
probably maybe it is. And two, experience, right? Like we know how valuable that is. Maybe he does have a future as a backup, or maybe even down the line as a future, but potential starter. Right now, that's not the case. We know that he's an average thrower of the football, and he's an average runner. It's not a Lamar Jackson situation where he's an elite runner and we can
Right.
develop the arm. And it's not even like a Jalen Hurts situation where he's a bigger body, stronger type of athlete. Like that's not who DTR is, and that's not a knock on
True.
him. It's identifying what we have. But I have seen it all over people saying, "Oh, maybe the Browns have something in Dorian Thompson Robinson," and I am not taking a shot here at DTR. I think he's been helpful when we've needed him, but what piece of evidence is leading anybody to saying that, right? Like, why do I even have to ask this question?
Well, and think about this. We don't know, right? Like he's got 3 games to kind of show himself. He's going to go against a good defense in Baltimore. I don't know what to make of Miami, but I guess what I'm trying to say is maybe he shows some poise and takes this really serious and he balls out the last 3 games. Well, then you have to ask yourself, okay, well, he needs a shot for the roster next year. Because look, we've seen some other, and I know they're few and far between, but 4th and 5th round quarterbacks that come out of nowhere, and all of a sudden they just were never given the opportunity. They were in the wrong situation, and all of a sudden, they get a shot and they make the most of it. I mean, DTR definitely has the mental, like that mental kind of toughness. I think as a quarterback, I think he has that. But I think you just don't know until you give him multiple reps
Mhm.
out there. 100. I mean, I don't know how many he'd get over a course of 3 games, but over 100 plus a couple last year games. I mean, you got to see what he's got because what he's done, they've hodgepodged him, right? They brought him in like
Right.
after 2 hours before you find out Deshaun Watson's not going to play in a game against an elite Baltimore Ravens defense. Terrible, right? And he's a rookie.
Yeah.
And you throw him in for garbage time or whatever that may be. Give him a week of his own self-preparation,
Yeah.
the ones and all that. And that's how I'm going to judge him for the last 3 weeks. I'm like, okay, look, this is his offense. They're not turning back. More than likely, they're not going to go back to Winston at this point.
Yeah.
Man, if he goes out and balls out, you have to say maybe there is something in him, but we don't.
Maybe there's something in, yes, I agree. Maybe there's something in DTR to save him a roster spot next year, but not as a potential starter for this team next year. He's likely not the guy to say, "Hey, we're going to build this team around him." But maybe there's something in him where he's still here next year. I do give credit to the coaching staff for the first time in a while for benching Jameis Winston based on performance and being able to go to DTR. I think a lot of fans have been kind of pounding the table to see what you have in DTR, and Stefanski and this front office have been unwilling to do so. I mean, understandably so in certain examples, but you're right to be able to see him with a game plan for Dorian Thompson Robinson. We go back to last year. I mean, even remembering that game against the Broncos where he showed up, he was tough. Yeah, I mean, he obviously got injured in that game, and that's the reason that they had to bring in Joe Flacco. It was a whole thing. But he showed the mental fortitude to go out there and get the job done and get the job done, excuse me. And when he is game planned around, it's not a bad product. And I think the Browns, even in the current state that they're in, where this is just the season sucks. We all know that. I think most fans probably don't want them to go out and continue to win too much because that's going to affect draft stock at this point, right? What's it matter? But
Mhm.
at the same time, we are still watching these games. We're still invested. We still want to see good football. And I think DTR is going to present some level of spark, a little bit of an energy, some level of interest.
Well, and I will say this. I mean, it's preseason, but you're going up against your competition. It's equal, right? DTR showed a lot of promise in preseason. Well composed in those football games. He looked well tooled, and it looked like he had definitely had a significant amount of growth from year 1 to year 2 this last year.
Mhm.
So here's the thing, Allie, that I'm going to just throw out there, and this is we've done this on the show, and then we've ate crow. What you expect from the quarterback from the Cleveland Browns may be the polar opposite of what you get from the Cleveland Browns quarterback position. What I mean is, we could be sitting here next year at this time and go, hey, DTR, what a great season. He led us to 11-6 season, and we're going to the playoffs. You know why? Because it goes against all logic for Cleveland Browns quarterbacks.
That's the way it goes. Yeah, you're right.
It blows my mind. Like Johnny Manziel was supposed to be the greatest thing. Didn't work, right? And then all of a sudden, okay, DTR, he's okay. But then maybe he turns into this guy that is kind of a renaissance and comes back and shows in year 3 that I can be your bridge quarterback and be. I mean, we just don't know, right? Like,
no, you don't. You're right.
And every time we think we have the quarterback position right, and I thought this was hilarious. Larry put on his Facebook post, and everybody knows who Larry is, obviously, that has the bus.
Larry
But he goes,
yeah.
He goes, hey, Browns, how about you do what you think you should do and do the opposite? And it might just turn out great, because it seems like most of the time when we think we got it right, it's just the opposite, right? I think we're almost too cute sometimes and too smart and think we got it figured out. And here's the thing about the quarterback position in the NFL. Most teams don't get it right? Most teams don't get the quarterback position right. 1 and 4 hit in the draft. Typically, if you got a real deep, really awesome quarterback class, maybe 2 or 3, you're stretching it. And sometimes these diamond in the roughs come out of nowhere, and you're like, man, we didn't know he could do that. Well, yeah, he could. We just didn't give him the opportunity, and he didn't take of that opportunity. I mean, I can think about this. If Tom Brady never got the opportunity, if you look at that, if he never got, look what he was at Michigan, for crying out loud. He competed with 4 quarterbacks. If a quarterback never gets that opportunity, and look, Sam Darnold, we were ready to put him in the trash can and throw him down the river, and now he's resurrected his career, right? So the quarterback position is so weird in the NFL when it comes to, if you don't go to the right place, you might be doomed as a quarterback.
If you don't go to the right place and have the right attitude, the right maturity level coming out of the draft. I mean, we've talked about this, Dustin, where I think, where sometimes, most of the time, could benefit to return to college for 1 more year. I mean, we've seen this kind of situation play out where you can make the argument of, yes, they're going to go as a first-round pick. That's guaranteed money. It's life-changing. Of course they should go, because they're running the risk of injury and not being able to get that money. But then we will look at a quarterback development problem. I mean, looking at Anthony Richardson, he's a prime example where he was a 1-year starter. I mean, he really should have returned to Florida and play another year to get that development, get that maturity, because these guys are coming out so young, and that plays another part in a lack of success with these young quarterbacks. But then you get a guy like, I'm going to use Bo Nix as an example, who he goes to a stable organization in Denver, gets a winning head coach, a pretty good system, decent skill position players around him. I won't even say good, because they don't have a ton of great players. Decent skill position players around him. But he had, when you look back at his college career, you were like, oh my God, he's been in college for 25 years. He had the experience, he had the reps, but it's paying off for him. So that's a conversation to be had on a quarterback development situation. But there's so many factors, to your point. There's so many moving pieces and parts. And unfortunately, it's very easy to get wrong.
Yeah, well, and it's just because quarterbacks just, and that's why I think you see sometimes this has happened in the past where a quarterback will say, you can draft me, but I ain't going to play for you. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to put me in a horrible position. I'm smart enough. My agent's smart enough. I know if I go here, it's not going to go well for me, right? Like, and then some kids just don't have the choice, because obviously they want the money and they want to, prove themselves because they have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. But man, like, I've seen so many quarterbacks just get washed out of this league. If you think of all the quarterbacks, probably it'd be interesting to do a show in the last 10 years of all the quarterbacks that got drafted, how many were in the league after year 3? It would be really astounding to see. I mean, it's probably a high out rate, I would imagine, after year 3.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an interesting conversation. And we could probably even just go back, you're right, just a couple of years and look and see, like, it is startling. And how many are with their drafted team? Not going to be many. Before we go on to the medical moment, I want to talk to you about our friends over at Hartville Marketplace and Flea Market. Guys, head down to Hartville Marketplace and Flea Market. They've got 3 acres of indoor shopping, over 50 unique shops. You can also head outside to their outdoor flea market, where they are open Mondays, Fridays, and Saturdays year-round. Fresh produce. They've got something for everybody. So please be sure to go check them out at Hartville Marketplace and Flea Market. We are going to go out on the hotline and bring on Dr. David Ullery here in just a moment after a quick word from our friends over at Lorello Vineyards.
Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Woof, woof.
Hello, welcome to Lorello Vineyards, Larry and Kim Lorello. We have a beautiful Here We Go Brownies wine that we would like to offer to you this season as we did last season. We have several other award-winning wines, lovely entertainment and events coming this summer. So come and see us, wine a bit, you'll feel better.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you at the Muni lot this fall. Go Browns.
All right, let's bring him on, Dr. David Ullery, the husband of the program. David, how's it going?
So true. It is wonderful. It's a beautiful Wednesday evening here in Pensacola, and we are just living life,
Just living the dream. Just living the dream.
David,
What was it?
David?
What was it?
I said,
He
David,
said,
good
good
to
to, he
see
said good to see you.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know what you said. Great to see you. Oh, I love being on this show.
David, you just pulled a Joe Hayden on me, and I asked you a question. You just didn't respond. Just stare at me with a blank face.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear him. It kind of, I don't know if it froze or I didn't hear it, but we're here. We're here. I'm ready. I'm not going to do that. I will always.
That was an all-timer. Let's get into it. I think the most obvious and pressing thing to talk about right now is Nick Chubb. We know that he went out with a broken foot. You know more than I do. I'm going to turn it over to you. Kevin Stefanski did say that it doesn't look like he's going to require surgery, but you are the expert to Dr. David Ullery. Take it away.
Yeah. All we know, per the reports, is that it's a broken foot. Something broken in the foot. But like you said, at least today it was reported that it does not seem like he's going to need surgery on it, which is good because he's had enough surgery, frankly. And if we can avoid more surgery, it's always a good thing. But he was placed on the IR officially, so we know it is season ending for him. So what is it? What bone is broken? There are a couple probably leading candidates for what would be the injured bone. Certainly one of the ones that we think of most commonly, the pseudonym for it is a Jones fracture, which is a fracture of the 5th metatarsal or the 5th toe. So it's not, it's like the main it's this bone, but in the foot. So these are metacarpals. It's not part of the finger appendage, but it's in the hand. And so a Jones fracture is a fracture of the base of that, but in the foot. That's probably the most likely injury.
Little toe, right? Little toe, you're saying? Near the little toe?
Yeah, but way down kind of towards midfoot. Probably the most likely. It could be any of the other metatarsals as well, though, across the foot. And my suspicion is that's probably it, especially if it's non-operative. A Jones fracture in an athlete, typically they would fix. And so my gut is that it's probably one of the other metatarsals. And I imagine what happened is he probably developed a stress fracture in that foot from ramping up activity so quickly after the ACL injury. And maybe it completed and it turned from a stress fracture into a complete fracture, which is going to be painful and hard to run on. And you might as well just, at this point in the season, let him heal and recover and not put him at further risk of injury. So it could be that. Certainly on the more severe spectrum of things, it could be a Liz Frank injury where you can actually fracture the bone, but that typically would require surgery as well. And so it sounds like this is a pretty non-severe injury if he's going to be treated without surgery, and he should manage a full recovery from this. It just takes time. So no surgery is good news, and hopefully we'll see him week 1 without any issues at all.
Yeah. I know there's a couple of other things to talk about. You'll have to kind of jog my memory here, David. I know we've got Cedric Tillman remaining in concussion protocol, and I believe there's somebody else. You're the expert.
Yeah. So as we saw, he did not suit up on Sunday. Cedric Tillman still in concussion protocol, but he was practicing today, listed as limited, which means he's still going through the protocol. But I mean, it's a good sign that he is practicing. Every player takes a different amount of time to go through it, as we've seen and experienced. Some go through it much quicker. It just depends on how they do at every stage and if their symptoms are present or not. So hopefully he clears it this week and is able to go on Sunday. And MJ Emerson is also on the concussion protocol and did not practice. So his return may be in a little bit more question just because he was not a participant at all today, meaning he hasn't gotten to the point where he can actually suit up and practice. So we'll see how he does the last 2 days this week. Judy is listed on the injury report, but he's a full participant. And then the other one really to consider or keep an eye on still is David Njoku. He had a hamstring injury. We were hoping he would suit up last week, but we kind of felt like it may not happen, which it did not. And he did not practice today either. So we'll see if he makes a return on Sunday or not. But that's just another guy to keep an eye out for from a week-to-week or day-to-day perspective.
David, real quick question. Any word in Stefanski's press availability or from anyone on JOK or an update on JOK on his condition?
Not that I've seen. I know we kind of keep touching on it every week, just kind of looking for any answers or updates. And I did not, at least coming across some reports from the press conference today, did not hear anything. And I mean, just kind of quickly searching through my things, there really have not been any updates recently for his injury. And so it seems like they're keeping it under wraps and keeping it pretty close until they can make a final determination or he makes whatever his ultimate final recovery may be. So we'll just have to keep checking back every week and see if we've heard anything new.
I mean, at this point, it's probably likely that he's not going to return to the team this year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would say, given that we are a week 16 coming up, we're not going to see him at all this season. And so we just have to hope that he can make it back for camp in the summer and make a full recovery enough to play and continue with his career. And again, we don't know what the expectation is going to be for that.
Yeah. Larry says here in the comments, both injuries with Nick Chubb happened with whiteout helmets. Look, I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. Maybe it's the helmet.
Maybe it is, especially with your franchise player and the face of your franchise and city. I would absolutely eliminate any sort of risk or theory or anything to help reduce the chances of him being injured again. So if that's the case, we'll forget the whiteouts for sure.
It's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. All right, Dustin, what else you got for the doctor?
No, just like you said, just back to JOK, the neck is such a very sensitive place on the body when it comes to an injury because it, affects the back and every other part of your body. And it's scary. I mean, it can be paralyzing, obviously, right? So it'll be interesting to see, what we find from JOK because that's kind of crazy. I was at the game. It was not a good look. You know what I mean? Like those are the kind of things you never want to see on a football field. So it's pretty crazy. Yeah,
definitely not. But yeah, I mean, not a ton to report, which I guess is good at this time of year. But it's such a bummer for Nick to make it all the way back in under a year after a staged two-stage surgery and to be fully suited up, full go, and then to break a little bone in your foot just to have the season end again. It's got to be so frustrating.
Jason says here, put Chubb in bubble wrap for next year. I mean, it's just, you're right. It's a bummer. It just sucks. It just sucks for him, the person, obviously the player, but we know how hard of a worker he is to get back, like you said, David, and just for a silly little bone, and then it's just over. But so is the season. So, not like we're making a playoff push or anything like that.
Is the season over? No, I'm just kidding.
Close to it. Yeah, we're there. That's where we're at.
Like that. Dustin's always holding out hope.
No, we're done. Larry's already moved on. Larry's already moved on to the Lions. By the way, Larry has a Lions hat now. By the way, David, so he wears that. He calls it the Lake Erie Alliance, because you have Buffalo playing well, you have Detroit playing well, so it's like the Lake Erie Alliance. And I'm like, Larry, what are you doing? He's like, well, you got to root for a winner. I'm like, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So hey, but I tell you what would be a really cool Super Bowl is Buffalo and Detroit, because a Lake Erie Super Bowl would be badass. And both of those teams have never won a Super Bowl. So, I always say, like, it's the Cubs and the Indians. Someone's got to win it, right? Because neither one have ever won it. So that'd be kind of cool to do a Lake Erie Super Bowl. So
Would be bad.
It would be
pretty cool.
something. I think I've been seeing a lot. People say it's the Super Bowl they want, but we're going to end up Eagles Chiefs somehow.
Yeah, probably.
No, that script has not come out from the NFL yet. Nope. I'm not going to buy it.
What was who was the Madden colors this year? Remember the conspiracy theory last year?
Oh, the logo colors.
Yeah.
I don't remember who.
There was blue in there. I think there was blue in there.
It was either blue or purple. Yeah, I don't remember.
It's like a neon green and like a pink or a red.
Oh God.
So I'm trying to see.
The Seahawks?
The Vikings and the Vikings?
Well, the background is purple, but the letters themselves are like kind of a red and green. So I think that's why people are saying Chiefs and Eagles, but definitely a Seahawks green. It's more of a neon than a Kelly. And the only team that has that is really the Seahawks.
I mean, Sam Howell is gonna just take them all the way. That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be great. All right, David.
As it says, like, what's his name for the Eagles? Nick Foles,
Nick Foles, yeah. I know.
Yeah. Like that.
Yeah, seriously. Gosh, I'm pulling my computer off the desk. All right, David, we appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Go Browns.
Go Browns. Thanks for having me, guys.
Browns.
Dr. David Ellery, that's the medical moment brought to you by our friends over at Lorello Vineyards. Dustin, why don't you tell our listeners about City Barbecue?
Oh, guys, City Barbecue. Can't say enough about these guys. They were at our Christmas party last Saturday. People loved it. There are 6 Northeast Ohio locations. Check them out for catering or any type of meals you want to get around the holiday. They have their holiday menu right now. It's an amazing place to check out. Gift cards, great for Christmas, obviously. But also, they have this thing called bread pudding. Everybody raves about it. We had some of that there, but I got to tell you, people loved having those hams and and all the meat there and being able to take in on that. But yeah, I can't say enough about it. I mean, I love barbecue in general, but yeah, I'm just a barbecue guy. It's probably my top 3.
I do like barbecue. Foods. It's top tier. It's really good. Also, I want to tell you guys about our friends over at 5 Iron Golf. This is where golf is inclusive for everybody. Whether you're just getting started or you're a seasoned veteran, head on over to 5 Iron Golf. Get some practice in, get some swings in, especially because it's really, really cold in Northeast Ohio right now. You can play some really cool courses, get some drinks, get some food. Check it out over at 5 Iron Golf. Now, Dustin, go ahead.
Use the code Brownie40 for 40% off your golf. Brownie40. And ladies' nights is every Wednesday night, 5 to 8. Free golf for all the ladies in Northeast Ohio. And I was just laughing at Jason's comment. Eric Metcalf was smashing that stuff. Barbecue on front. Yes, he was. He was definitely getting the plate full.
All right. I saved something on Instagram I want to run through, and it is week 16 hot takes. It was posted by Catch the Blitz, and I thought, we're going to run through these, and we're kind of going to, I want to do it as more of like a fact or fiction kind of thing. So they have it posted as hot takes. We're just going to kind of use them as discussion points. So none of these really relate to the Cleveland Browns, but, they're not giving us much to talk about.
And I've not seen any of these questions, by the way, guys. So this is
no, you have not. So the first one I'm going to throw at you, and this is relevant, not to the Cleveland Browns, but obviously relevant. All of these are. But Michael Penix Jr. turns the ship around and leads the Falcons to the divisional round. What do you make of that? Fact or fiction?
That's tough. Do we know where they currently set at? Like, are they in the hunt, or are they like
they're in the hunt.
So they they got to win games to get in, I guess, is where I'm asking when it comes to the Falcons. Or are they like solidified?
They're 7-7 right now. So they
are they set, but if the playoffs were today, would they be in? I guess. Sorry, let me rephrase my question.
I don't know that off the top of my head.
Yeah, because I think that would probably answer.
But let's just say, basically the question is, can Michael Penix Jr. get things turned around? They're 7-7. They haven't been great. Can he kind
Yeah,
of
look,
right the ship right now and give them some spark?
yeah, I'm going to go yes, and I'll tell you why. And the only reason I say this, obviously they brought in a guy in Cousins, clearly, because they had all the pieces and parts around him. Clearly, they felt to get them to a playoff push, right? That was the whole purpose of bringing in a quarterback. Now, here's the one thing that is to the advantage of a rookie quarterback. There is no tape on him. There is no like real game live reps kind of things. So defenses are going to it's going to take a few weeks for them to figure it out. Well, they don't have a few weeks, right? It's the end of the season. So I'm going to go, it's not a hot take. And I think he actually has a shot here to do something maybe for the Falcons because there isn't that tape on him. And I use that kind of thing like CJ Stroud's had a really good season. He's kind of had a sophomore slump now. Defenses are trying to figure him out a little bit. Daniels and the Commanders, right? More tape out on him. All of a sudden, things come a little more compressed. I think it actually is the advantage for the Falcons to throw him out there and give them a spark going in. That's my take.
I think so I say it's fiction that he's going to lead them to the promised land, right? Like lead them to a significant playoff push. I don't think that that's true, but I think it's fact that he kind of is a bright spot here. He turns things around. I subscribe to the new quarterback theory. I believe in it. When a team gets a new quarterback and they're starting for the first time, almost always they go out and win. They have a great performance. I think that will be the case. I just think had he started, had Michael Penix Jr. got the start a month ago, yes, I think so. But because of the new quarterback theory, week one's always great, the first week of their start, and then they kind of do this thing where, they're going through their rookie woes, and he's still a young player. He's not got the start yet. So I'm going to say no, I don't think that they make a significant push in the playoffs, but I think that he gives them a little bit of life. Next up, Jaden Daniels is better than Jalen Hurts. Fact or fiction?
Oh, that is fiction. There's there's not enough tape for one, and one of them went to a Super Bowl. I mean, that just seems like a dumb take. Sorry, I'm not trying to make fun of what our questions are, but I mean, like you have one guy that is clearly went to a Super Bowl, and another guy that hasn't even played a full season in the NFL. No.
Yeah.
That's
I know.
watch.
I know. I agree. And it's weird. Like, does that mean he's better right now, or like, does this question mean like better down the line? I don't know. Like, he's got I would say Jaden Daniels has a higher ceiling than Jalen Hurts.
Well,
we know who
sure.
Jalen Hurts is right now, but no, he's not better.
And look what Mr. Hurts did last week. I mean, he went out and balled out last week when people were criticizing him. So it's not like he can't rise to the occasion and put a great game together. So yeah, I don't buy that. That's foolish.
All right. Next up, the Vikings realize Darnold is the future and trade away McCarthy, or maybe entertain trade offers.
Yes.
So I guess the question here is more or less like, do the Vikings stick with Darnold long term?
Well, bridge quarterback, I would say, 2-year deal, maybe something like that. Because I mean, Sam Darnold at the end of the day is only 28, maybe. I mean, he's not old, right? I mean, he's not like
something like that.
Ancient, right? So it's not like his arm's going to fall off and he's going to lose arm strength in the next 2 years. So yeah, I do think because guess what? This is what teams think. Oh, young quarterback, we can fix him. It was just a Vikings problem, so yeah, I think they'll entertain offers and they'll stick with him. Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. Especially coming off of an injury to JJ. I mean, look, Sam Darnold's 11-2. Is that what he is? I mean,
12-2.
My God, 12-2. Yeah. I mean, my goodness, they're the real deal. And look, you talked about eating crow on this show a little bit ago. We've done it even with this Vikings team where like 4 weeks into it, we're like, yeah, this is cool for now, but this isn't going to last. Well, I'll be damned. It's lasted. They're a good team. Sam Darnold's legit.
Right, and they've had to go up against teams like the Lions and the Packers. So it's not like their division's like a joke. Yeah. So
yeah. All right. Speaking of the Packers, next up, the Packers are the scariest team, keyword scariest team in the NFC, and have a real shot at the Super Bowl.
Okay, can you repeat the question one more time? Sorry.
Yeah, the Packers are the scariest team in the NFC, and they have a real shot at the Super Bowl.
No. No. But I mean, I like the Packers, but the Super Bowl runs through Detroit. No.
So here's my thing. I think if the question read the Packers are the best team in the NFC, I would say no, this is not true. But scariest makes me kind of sit back and ponder that a little bit because I'll tell you what. I mean, you look at teams like the Packers right now, the Rams right now, who are just smoking hot, putting up a ton of points. They're winning games somehow. Well, the Rams didn't last week, but nonetheless, like they're winning games. They're finding ways to win. Yeah, at this point in the season, when a lot of teams like the Detroit Lions are decimated with injuries, they're not necessarily a team I would want to face.
Yeah, but I guess I'll push back because you have teams like Detroit, even with their injury woes, are putting up 40 points a game. Like they are still dominant. And we talked about this and I compare them a little bit to the Baltimore Ravens. Decimated with injuries, but still find ways to win and keep winning and winning and winning. To me, that makes you a scarier team because you're kind of Teflon, right? Like we win no matter what. And so I say the Detroit Lions are a more scary team because they don't let injuries get in the way. They don't let anything get in the way, and they'll go throw 40 points on somebody because they have a running game and stuff like that they can eat clock. They can beat you multiple ways, I guess is the best way to describe the Detroit Lions. And so, yeah, for that, I think they're the scariest team. So if that question was posed to me, who's the scariest team that has a run for the Super Bowl? It's the Lions because I think they are the team that, by the way, hard place to go into, Ford Field in that dome in the playoffs. It's just going to be a tough out against the Detroit Lions. And so that would be, if the question was reversed and it was the Lions, I'd say, yeah, that's the scariest.
Yeah. Another Sam Darnold one for you. The Jets should reunite with Sam Darnold. Fact or fiction?
Fiction. And Sam Darnold should run away from the grease fire that is the New York Jets as far as he can. And, Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he is the GM and coach, I feel like, for the New York Jets at this point. Stay away from that. I mean, the Browns are in bad shape. I could almost say the Jets are worse. And I know that's saying a lot, but the Jets are worse. Like the Jets when's the last time the Jets won a playoff game? It's been a minute. It's been 20 years, right? 15, something like that. It's been a hot minute. So the Jets haven't won. I mean, at least we won a playoff game a few years ago.
That's true. That's true. I agree. Sam Darnold should not reunite with the New York Jets. I mean, look, I think if you're Sam Darnold and you've played yourself this year into a really decent contract, I'm sure you entertain most offers. But that was a dumpster fire relationship between the Jets and Darnold previously.
Right.
I think if you asked Baker Mayfield to come back to Cleveland, he'd probably say, like, no, that's not really somewhere I want to go right now, based off of how things ended. Like, I'm sure Sam Darnold is a similar situation. Like, no, I'm good. I'll take my talents elsewhere. I think, honestly, the best place for Sam Darnold is Minnesota. I mean, it's a great place. All right, let me see if I have anything else here. There was one crazy one in here that isn't even worth reading, except I'm going to read it because it's that crazy. Despite the loss to the Eagles, the Steelers are the second best team in the AFC.
Oh, my God. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. No. Do I think they're a good team? No, but they're not the second best team in the league. I mean, is this person off of Instagram? Is this a Steelers fan? I'm just curious.
No, it's not. But
no, I can think of 3 teams right off the top of my head without even having to think that are better than the Steelers. I don't even have to think about it. Like, let's see. I don't know. Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, in that order. I'm done. And then I can think of maybe some other teams that maybe, no.
I mean, truthfully, I think that we could go through the entire AFC, and I'm sure I could probably name 5 better than the Steelers right now. I think they just kind of got lucky, and they're the Steelers. They can fall back on winning culture.
I don't know if they got lucky. It's coaching, and I think this goes a long ways.
That's true.
Yeah, and what I say to that is there were some lean years for the Patriots teams where Tom Brady didn't have all the pieces, like he did in other years. But Bill Belichick willed them on through the playoffs, right? I think Mike Tomlin sometimes wills this team into situations that they probably shouldn't have won, right? That's why he hasn't
Yeah.
had a losing record since his existence, which is crazy that a coach
Crazy.
with, by the way, this is a team that doesn't pay big contracts. This is a team that doesn't have superstars on it. I mean, you'll have a handful of guys, but not like, it's just not what that team does.
Right.
And they still find a way to win, unfortunately. They're our rival, and they always will be. But, I mean, I relish in the day that the Pittsburgh Steelers have a losing record. I relish for that day. And it hasn't happened in a long time.
It's true. It's true. All right, I want to turn it over and have a conversation about some coaches. But before we do that, Dustin, can you tell our listeners about our friends over at Greater Cleveland Aquarium?
Yeah, guys, if you want to go check out Greater Cleveland Aquarium, go check them out. They have Santa Claus in the tanks. That's right, like Santa Claus swimming around, scuba diving in the tank. Take your kids, your grandkids. We have a couple contests we're running for you. You can get a year-long pass to go there. So it's very, very cool. And then, of course, if you're in Cleveland and you're looking to book some stuff and do a New Year's Eve party, you may want to go check out Lady Caroline. That's right, Lady Caroline over there. Take that cruise, the New Year's Eve cruise, or book some trips for your friends or family next year. It goes out on Lake Erie for 2 to 2.5 hours during the lunch or dinner time, but it's really cool. We're also looking at maybe doing a next spring, early summer, a Here We Go Brownies cruise possibly, where we invite fans onto the ship and do a live show from the ship. I think that'd be super cool with like Cleveland as the backdrop. And hoping my Wi-Fi obviously would be very strong, but be able to do that live on the water. But it's 2025. You should be able to figure that out. So
yeah, I'm with that. Also, want to tell you about our friends over at True Fan Travel. Like they say on their website, think of us as your ultimate sports road trip buddy. We're all about bringing you closer to the heart-pounding action of your favorite away games. Grab your gear, make some memories together. With True Fan Travel, it's not just a game; it is an adventure. So be sure to check out our friends over at True Fan Travel. I want to play a quick game where we take a look at some head coaches throughout the league, and we can kind of go rapid fire on this. We don't have to have a ton of discussion here, but putting them into one of the following categories: extend, give another year, or fire. Okay? So let's kick things off with the AFC North. We're going to go through every AFC North coach, and then I picked a couple of others just for interesting discussion. But let's start with Zach Taylor.
Out.
See ya. Get out of here.
And what I mean by that, I see the one thing I don't see with Stefanski, just a sidebar just for a moment. There are some ruffles I see between players and the head coach there in Cincinnati. You don't see that in Cleveland, right? They kind of command the respect of, and I see some of that going on even between Joe Burrow and the head coach when they're winning, by the way, by 10 plus points, some uncomfortable conversations. So the Taylor experience is not good in Cincinnati like Taylor Swift is. He's out.
Oh my gosh. All right, let's do Kevin Stefanski. I mean, I agree with you, Zach Taylor. See ya. Bye. Kevin Stefanski. We're not going to spend a ton of time on this right now. That's maybe a topic for another show. But what category do you put him in?
Well, since he got an extension recently, stay put.
So forget that. Like, if anybody has either been recently hired or an extension, just kind of put that out the window. This is more or less like, what would you do?
Keep him another year.
Yeah, I think so too. John Harbaugh.
Keep him.
Extend or keep, or like just 1 year?
I would say extend, actually, based on what I've seen on the field. You know what I mean? Like, I think you extend the guy because I feel like he's got them going in the right direction. I'm going to go extend actually on this.
I'm going to say 1 more year, and it's like a prove it year. You know what I mean? Like, show me that if you can't win with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, maybe there is a bigger conversation to be had. So that would be my view on it.
I do have an asterisk with this, though. I don't blame him. And I will say this on this podcast or anybody I meet in person. Lamar Jackson is an elite player. He is not an elite playoff player. He does not do well in the playoffs. I think this is all on Lamar Jackson when it comes to playoff time. And he has, for whatever reason, not excelled all the way in the playoffs for multiple years, not on the coach. So,
Oh, I mean, he did make it to the AFC Championship game, but I get your point. Well, more so than any Cleveland quarterback has. So, like, I see what you're saying, but
he's only got like 2 or 3 wins total in
sure,
his career.
yeah. All right, and then Tomlin extend. Like for me, like you.
Well, yeah, I guess you got to extend him because he saw the foresight of Russell Wilson, right? And he thought he could do something with him. So that takes a good coach to do that. So I think you extend him. And by the way, they don't fire coaches; they just give them extensions in Pittsburgh. So
yeah, and it just somehow works out. All right, let's go. We're just gonna go kind of rapid fire here. I'm gonna throw a couple of names at you. Mike McDaniel.
Surprised he's still there.
Yeah, me too.
I'm surprised he's still there. So out of there.
I think so. I think that the Dolphins move on after this year. It's tough. It is I know they've been riddled with injuries also, but I think the novelty is kind of worn off. Mike McCarthy.
There's a guy I'm surprised wasn't gone in week 6.
I'm telling you what.
Like that is like I think he's lost I think he's also lost. What player was it like a month ago said I care more than the coach does? I can't remember what player it was, but he came out pretty vocal on social media like I care more about the Cowboys than the coach does. I'm like, you have lost the locker room. You got to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Peace and blessings. See ya. What about Brian Dable?
Another guy. Yeah, I think he's gone. I do think he's gone. I don't think Daniel Jones is his fault. Obviously,
no, it's not. He didn't draft him.
No, he didn't draft him. He inherited him. So you know what? That's a tough one. They may keep him for another year. You know what? I'm gonna go. They keep him another year to see what he does with a different quarterback because culture, right? You don't want to mix up stuff all the time. I think they keep him one more year.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't know. He's made some very questionable in-game like time management decisions that I think are strange. Dable. I wouldn't want him as the Browns head coach. Like I would not be interested in that. Personally, I say gone, but I'm with you. I can see why they would keep him. What about Kyle Shanahan?
That's an interesting one. And there was some news made of this. I'm going to give you a hybrid on this. I think you may see in the National Football League this year for the first time in a few years where a team comes knocking. Hey, we really like Kyle Shanahan. He's a brilliant offensive mind. What would it take for us to make a trade of your head coach to another
the Bears.
team? Yeah, well, okay, sure, the Bears. But I'm saying I think he may be gone not because of his own doing, but because he says, you know what? Maybe it's time for us both to part ways. Mm-hmm. It's not you. It's not me. Give me a new opportunity. And if you can get some draft capital, God bless you. I think that could be the first time. And what was the last time that happened? I think we had a coach several years back. Well, John Gruden, I know, was a trade.
We've had a couple. Yeah, we've had a couple of instances where that's happened. And I know like even a few years ago, people were calling trying to trade assets for Sean McVay. I mean, like it's a thing. And I would not be surprised to see that. I do think that a change in scenery is best for Kyle Shanahan. But if I'm the general manager and I have these 3 options in front of me for Kyle Shanahan and I have to make a decision for the 49ers, I would say another year. I'm not giving him an extension yet. I know that they've been riddled with injuries also, but show me you can do it. Just a couple of more here. D'Amico Ryans.
Another year.
Mm-hmm.
Another year.
A little bit of a sophomore slump, it seems, with CJ and what they've got going on. I agree. Another year. And then who else we got on here? Gerard Mayo.
I think you got to give him another year.
Yeah, I think so too. Last but not least, Antonio Pierce.
He's another one. I think you're gonna have to give him another year. To be honest with you.
See, I think they'll probably move on.
Who's he the coach of?
The
Remind me again?
Raiders.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? Sorry, I didn't realize. Now I'm changing my mind now because he's the interim head coach, and most interim head coaches don't end up
Well,
keeping the job.
no, he was the interim last year, and
Oh, that's true. And then they made
was
him the
hired on.
permanent.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, that ship sailed. They're what, 2-4? They're 2-12, right? That's
Yeah,
done.
something
Yeah.
like
By
that.
the way, just sidebar, the Browns are 3-11, and the teams we've beat. I mean, I want you to think about the teams we've beat: the
Mhm.
Jacksonville Jaguars, who are terrible. Who is it? Well, and then of course our division foes. But I'm just
Yes.
telling you, it's kind of freaking crazy. But go on.
Yeah, it is. No, I mean it is. It's crazy when you look at this schedule,
You
but
can't write this movie. Let me just tell you that. This was
no,
not on my
no,
bingo
you can't.
card this year. Not on my
No.
bingo card.
All right, we've got some games to pick. Before we do it, can you tell our listeners about Western Reserve Distillers?
That's right, guys. Western Reserve Distillers in Lakewood, Ohio, has the Here We Go Brownies wine, or excuse me, not wine, but whiskey. That's right, the Here We Go Brownies whiskey. Go check it out there. They have some 6, 7-year, and 20-year whiskey. But by the way, they have lots of different other lines of whiskey that they've released. You can get them in your local liquor stores in all of Ohio. And then also, they have rum, they have vodka, they have all different types of other spirits. And they have a great restaurant there, by the way, to check out. While you're there, if you want a date night or just get out and have some fun, go check them out right there in Lakewood, Ohio, just west of Cleveland.
There you go. There you have it. All right, let's get into picking some teams, if you will. No, unfortunately, you did not, but we did tie. So I am currently up on the season 7-0-4. You are 0-7-4.
Like
So
the freaking Browns. I'm playing pick it like the Browns are playing football. Love it. Okay.
All right, let's start with Thursday night football. Broncos at Chargers. Who are you taking?
That's a good game.
Yeah, I think it will be.
Give me the Chargers.
Yeah, I think Chargers need a win desperately at home. Give me the Chargers. Texans at Chiefs.
Chiefs. Well, no. I don't know. Do we know if Patty Holmes is going to play this week because of his injury?
He
in
is.
Cleveland?
Yeah. He's
He
looking
is
like
play.
he's going to.
Okay. Well, he's not going to be 100%. CJ Stroud's having, but it's freaking it's tough to play in KC. Give me KC. Give me KC in this.
I think so too, but I think like this could be a close one. Steelers at Ravens.
Ravens. They want to win the division. Absolutely, Ravens.
Ravens want this one.
By the way, Lamar only has 3 interceptions on the season, I think. It's insane. And like 34 touchdowns. Isn't it something crazy?
Yeah, I mean Lamar's playing out of his mind. Let me pull up his stats real quick.
I think it's like 34.
Yeah, he's got 3,500 yards, passing yards, 34 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. Here's the sad thing. If Josh Allen wasn't having the year he was having, I think it'd be undisputed MVP for for his team. But the way Josh Allen's playing, you don't know how that's going to go down. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and also throwing in there Jared Goff. I mean, he's in that same conversation. I mean, Josh Allen, he's got 3,395 passing yards, 25 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. And while we're at it, I want to pull up Jared Goff's stats real quick. Give me just a moment here. I mean, you got a couple of guys that are having an insane season. Jared Goff, 37, 59 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. I mean, some really good. It's fun. It's fun. Okay, next up on the list, we've got the Giants at Falcons.
Giants are garbage, and new quarterback. I'm gonna give me the Falcons at home.
Yeah, give me the Falcons. I agree. Lions at Bears.
Lions, after a tough loss, they're going to go out on the win and take it out on the division rival Lions.
Yeah, and Bears are bad. Cardinals at Panthers.
Panthers are playing frisky. Spoilers.
They are.
You know what? That's a long trip. Give me the Panthers actually in this one.
Okay.
It's a tough out all the way to the almost East Coast.
I'm going to take the Cardinals here. They're playing decent football. Give me the Cards in this one. Rams at Jets.
Actually, this is one of those I think that's going to be weird. I think the Jets win this game just because the Rams are kind of up and down right now. That is a long haul to go from LA to New York. Give me the Jets in a weird upset game.
Okay, I'm going to take the Rams in this one. Eagles at Commanders.
It's a good game, actually. Give me the Eagles on the road.
Yeah, I agree. Eagles. Browns at Bengals.
A tie? I'm just kidding. Let's see. That'd be funny if that actually ends up being a tie. Bengals. You know, they just have a better quarterback and better skilled people at this point. Give me the Bengals.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bengals here too. I hate it, but I am. Titans at Colts.
Colts screwed themselves last week. They would have had a 75% chance of making the playoffs, and they just didn't do it. So I think they kind of take it out and they win this weekend. I think they win. So.
Yeah, I think so too. Vikings at Seahawks.
I'm going to say the Vikings win, and I'll say why. I think they're still trying to – they can still win the division, right? I'm assuming because they're tied with – they're tied with the Lions.
I don't know. Yeah, but I don't know.
But, I mean, there's 3 games left, so there's got to be – you know what I mean? As far as record goes and stuff. They got to be fighting for the NFC North still. So, for that, I think I got to give the Vikings the nod on the road.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Vikings here, especially with that injury to Geno. Don't know what that looks like. I'm gonna go Vikings. Right. Patriots at Bills.
Bills.
Yep. Jags at Raiders.
Ooh. Who wants this draft pick? Man. You know what? This is the kind of time where you're like a coach may try to save his job. I'm gonna go Raiders here. As he's trying to put some wins together to salvage the season a little bit. Maybe he gets, 4 or 5. I don't know. Again, they need a quarterback. Give me the Raiders. That's a hard one to pick.
This game sucks. I'll take the Jags. I don't know. Niners at Dolphins.
Is McCaffrey done for the season?
Yes.
Okay.
As far as I know.
Right. Again, yeah, give me the Dolphins in this one. Again, like you brought coach trying to save his job, maybe give me the Dolphins.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Dolphins here too. I mean, I just saw somewhere that Isaac Guerrero is likely out or didn't practice. Yeah. So like they really are about to start calling Dustin to start at running back. Like that is where the Niners are.
Idea. It's a really bad
That is
idea.
where the Niners are.
Really bad.
I'm gonna go with the Dolphins at home. Bucks at Cowboys.
Baker's played well in Dallas with the Browns. Even he lit it up there. Give me the Bucks.
Yeah, give me the Bucks. And then Monday night, Saints at Packers. Yeah, Packers. I agree. All right, so we've got 3. I took the Rams, you took the Panthers, I took the Cards, you took the Jets, I took the Jags, you took the Raiders. So we got 3 to pay attention to. There you go. There you have it. All right, Dustin, anything else before we wrap up?
Well, 3 games left, 3 games down. Let's try to finish out the season with no injuries for the Cleveland Browns. We got a lot to talk about as the season ends when it comes to the draft capital, what the Browns have. And obviously we'll have a lot to talk about this coming Sunday when it comes to DTR's play at quarterback. We'll have a full slate. Of course, he won't have all of his weapons out there, but it'll be a good show to see what he's got this weekend.
Yeah, there you go. There you have it. I got nothing else to talk about, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, Browns fans, go Browns.